Now, Kojo, let me come to this this E-Levy matter.
Yeah.
You have mentioned that, look, the conversation is happening, discussions are ongoing, and for now, what we do know is that there's a concession, which is 0.25 out of the one. So you have moved, which is to say that for now, what you're counter proposing is 1.5.
Not exactly. Let me explain.
Okay.
So I mentioned that the real import of what the minority has said is that they think that the impact on the Ghanaian should be reduced in the end. What is the impact on the Ghanaian? Last year, the totality of electronic transactions via mobile money was about $100 billion. The network operators took about 2% of that. That's about $2 billion. Mostly repatriated it to their home countries. They are doing a service for us, but they are not necessarily the ones who are, for example, providing us roads, security, public sector jobs, investment, and an expansion of the economy. We appreciate the work they are doing. But just put it in context. The government has said that in the midst of COVID and a global economic challenge, inflation is going up in the US. In the UK, gas, fuel, related products are having an escalation in prices. The world is going, in fact, in China, there are parts where they are having power rationing. The world is going through an economic challenge. So the government of Ghana says that it desires to take 1.75 as a levy to support its public interventions, including, in particular, infrastructure. Now, what the minority has said is that if the government of Ghana takes 1.75, in addition to the nearly 2% that the telcos are taking, that will end up being 3.75 on the user. And so their idea is that we should find ways of reducing it. Government says, I hear you. And government is in good negotiations with the telcos to say, guys, can you come down by 0.25 at your end? So that even if government still imposes 1.75, the impact on the consumer at the end of the day is no longer 3.75, it is now about 3.5.
Right.
Now, what that does is that it answers the question that the minority has asked. It doesn't necessarily mean that government will or has reduced the rate to 1.5. Even the minority has gone further to say that they are comfortable with 1%.
Well, I've read something from the communications officer of the NDC who says that the party's position as we speak is that they don't want the E-Levy.
Well, we've also seen the video of the minority leader quite clearly.
They're saying that position overrides what the
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. But I thought we are in a democracy where the majority leader and the minority leader and the leadership of the caucuses are the ones that are negotiating in Parliament. I did not think that we were in a space where the MPP chairman is dictating to the president.
Okay.
Is dictating to the executive branch of government. We say we want strong institutions. Is that not what we said in this country? So if the minority and the majority are on the field having a conversation, and for example now the minority says that they now get the rationalization as to why we need to raise at least about 1%.
Will it make a difference if I said to you that will it make a difference just so that the premise is going to be established?
Yeah.
Will it make a difference if I said to you that the minority chief whip, that's Muntaka Mubarak Mohammed himself, has had to issue a statement?
Is he superior to the minority leader?
Well, I'm just stating as a matter of fact that he
Honourable supersede or say I mean, we can't have a game where in the middle of the game everybody starts changing the rules.
Okay, let's
now the managing director of Metro TV says something and then Moro changes it, and now I'm supposed to take Moro's word against what we have to have clear rules to play by, else we can't move forward as a republic. So here's my point. If the minority now says that they understand 1% and government says so 1% plus 2% is 3.5. No, sorry, 1% plus 2% is 3. And then you have a 3.75, which is now being scaled down to, let's say, a 3.5. So you now have a conversation between a 3 and a 3.5. Can you move the conversation forward? Can you arrive at a point where the Republic now gets an answer that satisfies all the interests, instead of a certain position of, I won't listen, this is where I'm standing, if you don't come to my place? You never negotiate like that. So it is important that we continue the conversation in a manner that allows the Republic to get the revenues that it needs, and at the same time deal with the concerns that the minority has raised, which is to ensure that the impact on the consumer is reduced.
But this E-Levy thing, Kojo, it doesn't appear to be a very popular policy. I've heard Professor Bokping, I've heard all the key stakeholders, very prominent persons who have said, in fact, Kwame Penim said, look, is a jerky maneuver. In fact, in his statement, not a statement, an interview that he granted one of the media stations.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't appear to be a very popular policy. So I'm just saying that maybe government would have to look at it again. Now,
taxation itself, it's not a very popular maneuver.
But not this one, Kojo.
No,
let's make progress.
Nobody likes to pay taxes. Anytime a revenue measure is introduced, you will find some sort of pushback. What is important is not the fact that measure has been introduced or there's pushback. No, that's not the answer. It is about how do we now move from there to a conversation that allows everybody to understand that in my village, if we want to build a new, a new church or a new bridge or something, the fact that we're asking people to pay or the fact that we are looking for that good are not the ends in themselves. It is a conversation that now brings everybody out on a Saturday morning to participate in communal labor, give a little bit of your effort while the state or the traditional area is using it to build for us. That is where we need to move our conversation. So the conversation that is not popular or is popular, for me, is not an end in itself. How do we move it forward?
You are on a record to have suggested that it's either we accept to implement this E-Levy, or the other option for Ghana is to go to the IMF. How do you mean?
So you've used the word suggested.
Yes.
I thought you would have said that I have said, because suggested and said are two different things. No, I have not suggested that. I was on a program at City TV, and I gave an indication of what we mean when we say the 1.75.
Before you go ahead, it's just a second. My producer Bright, if the video is ready, please play the video. We have it. Good. Please play the video, and then we'll come back and get Kojo to explain to us what he meant by that.
Yeah. For example, this E-Levy has been programmed to bring us about $1 billion. About 6.7 or so billion cedis. It's $1 billion. It's equivalent to what, if you don't go for this E-Levy, you end up going to an IMF fund program to plug your book. Yeah. For example, this E-Levy has been programmed to bring us about $1 billion. About 6.7 or so billion cedis. It's $1 billion. It's equivalent to what, if you don't go for this E-Levy, you end up going to an IMF fund program
Can I go ahead?
Yep.
Yeah. So the words I use clearly is that it is programmed to give us 6.7 billion, and it is equivalent to what, if you don't go for the E-Levy, if you don't go for a revenue measure of this nature, you have to go and find that kind of money, let's say from an IMF fund program or something. Remember that in the last administration, when they were having challenges in mobilizing revenue, their option was to go for about $1 billion from the fund. We all are very clear with that history in this country. And the point has been made over and over again that governments have to find innovative revenue measures to keep responding to the demands on expenditure. So the conversation that we had there, which I'm very happy you have played for your audiences, is that I gave a picture of what this E-Levy means. This E-Levy is about 6.7 billion. That is equivalent to what you would, if you don't have any option, you will have to be begging around for. But we are in a jurisdiction where we have a functioning economy. Unfortunately, not all the proceeds of the economy are coming into the national kitty. The benchmark rule is that by now we should be bringing about 25% of GDP into the national kitty. We are at about 12%. It doesn't mean the GDP is not happening. It is happening, but the money is going elsewhere or it's not coming into the national kitty. If you don't have strategies of bringing that GDP into the national kitty, you have to go begging elsewhere for that same kind of money.
And the IMF is certainly one of the options.
You can go to bilateral platforms.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm coming.
IMF is
I am answering your question. You can go to bilateral platforms. You can go to the fund. You can go anywhere else. Where you don't go for revenue, you go for grants or you go for loans. We have said in this country that we are hitting a certain loan cap that we don't want to go beyond, and therefore borrowing is hitting a cap, including the fund is hitting a cap. We have said in this country that we want to move beyond aid, and so grants are also now gradually fading out. We have to confront the argument clearly. How do we mobilize domestic resources from the various economic activities that are contributing to our GDP? And we say in all humility that just like where in some places they go for sales tax, which we don't in Ghana, just like how in some places they go for VAT, which we do here in Ghana, just like how in some places they go for property rates, which we don't collect very well here in Ghana, we have to confront that argument in this country of how do we mobilize revenue from the already existent GDP that is happening.
All right.
And this is one of the options.
Now, the Member of Parliament for North Tong and the and some other minority MPs posted something on Facebook, and I'm going to read what the North Tong Member of Parliament, Sammy Gyamfi posted, I think it was 2 days or yesterday or so, and then you would explain to us what that information in the text, which is the statement, the budget statement, actually means. So the Honourable Sammy Gyamfi posted, it says, it does appear our agitation against the E-Levy is going to really affect some shadowy business interests. If we succeed in having it scrapped or substantially reduced, Appendix 4B at page 242 of the 2022 budget reveals that a colossal 241,933,000 has already been set aside to pay for so-called e-transaction levy services. And it goes ahead to say, we shall be demanding full disclosure in Parliament on this apparent sweetheart deal. And that's how he captures it. Kojo, what can you explain to us, or what can you tell us about the information we have here? Appendix 4B, page 242 of the budget.
I'll make this the last point, because as we agreed earlier, I have to run back to Jubilee House because of the South African president's arrival. I think it's very unfortunate that when we want to have a serious conversation in this country, we start it off by lacing it with accusations, suspicions, and the kind of language that takes every opportunity to make sense out of it away. So what is wrong in saying that I've noticed that there's an e-transactions services fee or something?
Levy. E-transaction services levy.
Yes, in the appendices. And I would like to get some more information about it. When you start off by saying some shadowy business interests, some sweetheart, you've poisoned the well already. And this is what we do to ourselves in this country. We poison the well, and we are not able to have any conversation that makes sense anymore because we've poisoned it. The first thing somebody heard is that there's a shadowy business interest, there's a sweetheart. Do you think anybody will listen to the substance? And that thing that we are doing consistently is not in the interest of our republic. I'll give you an example before I answer specifically. In the 2021 budget, for the first time, the Ministry of Information was giving a budget for government communications. Why? Because COVID meant that we were running a lot of adverts, and we realized all of a sudden that the Ministry of Information was not being given a budget properly so-called for it. I think it was about 3 million or so. You heard my good friends, including Mr. Ablakwa on the side of the NDC, argue that some money has been put in the budget to be used to pay party communicators and party apparatchiks. So unfortunate. What is wrong with asking the question? What is wrong with asking the question?
I'm asking you the question.
I'm saying that when you start, and it's important to deal with it this way before we get to the substance. Because when you start off like this, you don't get to any substantive issue. It now becomes all political posturing, accusations back and forth. And I will continuously encourage, whether I'm in power today or in opposition tomorrow or whatever, that we should be careful how we frame things in this country. It's not in the interest of our republic. Now, this e-transaction levy, it is our understanding that there are the telcos.
E-transaction services.
Yes. No, this e-transaction levy.
I know, but I'm talking about it.
If you let me respond.
All right.
The e-transaction levy, they are the telcos. They are the interoperability platforms that connect the telcos. And then now, the Ghana Revenue Authority will need to get a third party who is a technology company to plug into this platform and literally pull out this 1.75 or 1.5 or whatever has to come to it, and then begin to credit Ghana Revenue Authority with it. My understanding also is that Ghana Revenue Authority, by law, gets 3% of whatever revenues that they collect. And so, for example, work out the numbers and see, does it amount to about 3% of what the top line figure is, which is to say if GRA were collecting that money, even on its own, is it the same rate they will retain at GRA? And if, for example, this 3% amount is what is being charged on the top line, is it that GRA will then contract this service provider to provide the service and then pay even less than that 3% out of it? These are things that can be asked and answers provided to them. And if you start off by poisoning the well like this, you're not going to get any sensible answers.
Help me understand something.
What
the monies have been set aside already?
Yes.
So
no, monies have not been set aside.
Right. So
the budget is a program. Listen, the budget is a program. So, for example, when you are doing your business plan here at Metro TV, you target, let's say, sales, 2 million. Then you budget for cost of sales, that to get that sale, somebody will take a car to go out, somebody will, maybe...
Expenditure that comes with it.
Absolutely. And then you now get what you call your net sales. It doesn't mean that monies have been set aside already for some shadowy business interest and a sweetheart deal has been cut. That is how budgeting is done. And that's exactly what they have done in this.
But the issues will come down to who this third party is.
My understanding,
how the third party is going to be contracted.
My understanding even is that nobody has even gotten to us. It's a proposal before Parliament.
But Kojo, if this had passed,
no.
If Parliament had approved this,
yes,
you would have gone ahead with it.
With what?
Well, contracting this third party.
Because you have to go through a process. You are not now going to contract somebody to do it and then come and ask that, how much are we going to pay this somebody? So how are we going to get approval that even if we contract somebody, that person must be paid? That's not how budgeting is. When you do your budgeting here at Metro, you budget sales, cost of sales. When you are budgeting cost of sales, doesn't mean you've given a contract to somebody already. No. But you have done the prudent thing of budgeting for it. And then you now go through the process. My understanding, when I check this, my understanding is that nobody has even had a conversation about which potential
do we need,
if I may answer, nobody, because the thing is being thrown out there that there's a sweetheart deal, there's a shadowy business interest. It's important to extinguish it. Nobody has even done that. But the responsible and prudent thing you do when you're budgeting is that you then account for the numbers. And then when you start the process, you have to go through a proper PPA process, do a certain, what is it, bidding, whatever. Somebody can then have an opportunity to put in a bid. You have all of these technology companies in this country. They can put in a bid. They will perhaps even price themselves out, and then you get somebody. But by the time you do that, you have already created a framework where whoever provides that service can be paid. Gosh, we can get to these matters without poisoning the public mind.
I think the idea, even the idea of deciding or to settle on the third party to do the collection of the revenue in itself is a problem, and that I think it's at the conceptual level.
Why is that a problem?
Because the counter argument has been that there are state institutions that can do this. You don't need a third party to do this. You don't need a private person to do this.
No, I haven't said a private person, but state institutions like which one?
Can the Ghana Revenue Authority do this themselves?
The Ghana Revenue Authority,
they don't have the capacity to do it.
Relax. Even if they were going to do it, it will not come at their current cost. I've already explained to you that there's a 3% retainer that the Ghana Revenue Authority retains for all of their services. So even if it's the Ghana Revenue Authority that is going to do it, they will not pay for the software and the other things that they will work with.
How did you arrive at the figure?
Which figure?
The figure in this figure that has been published already. I think I read it earlier.
Well, you have to strike the percentages. You would have to strike the percentages. Does it amount to about 3%?
So we're talking 241.
Does it amount to about 3%?
How do you come with that figure?
I'm sure that if we sit with the finance ministry guys, they can provide how they accounted for every single figure. But the rule of thumb, as I know, is about 3% of the revenue measures that go into this one.
I know you have to leave us in the next few minutes.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that let us not start off these conversations by always poisoning the public mind. It is not in the interest of the Republic. Today we may be in power. Tomorrow somebody else may be in power. If we continuously do this thing of always just poison the public mind when anything is being done for our Republic, we will not go anywhere as a country.
Right.
If we start off every conversation by just accusing everybody, shadowy business interest, sweetheart deal, when you have not even bothered to ask the basic question, I have a
lot of people who are asking me for you to respond to Mr. Kwame Pienim's take on the E-Levy. I don't know whether you read it.
I haven't.
He says a jerky maneuver. In fact, I'm going to read to you what he said. He says, take a step back from the brink, listen creatively to the pain of our people, and focus on providing a caring administration and preserving national cohesion and keeping the economy on an even keel in the stormy weathers. But
that's exactly what the government has done by taking a keen listen to what, for example, the minority has said, what the telecoms chamber has been saying, what operators in the economy have been saying. And that is why the government says, let us sit down and have a conversation, during which period we also explain to you some of the other measures we are bringing in to mitigate the impact.
You don't agree with him that is a jerky maneuver?
That is his description. He's entitled to it.
He's also asking...
I don't need to get into a debate with him. That's his description. It's a democracy. He's entitled to it. But I'm saying that the principle of what he's saying, that it is important for government to engage, is exactly what government has been doing from that Friday night. Let us sit down and engage. And people say, no, we won't sit down and engage.
Okay. Now,